Hello everyone and welcome to Mountain Lake Journal. I'm Tom Hellick. Shuttle buses are scheduled to start running this week to get hikers to some of the most popular trails in the High Peaks Wilderness, while leaving their cars behind, easing some of the traffic and parking nightmares along Route 73. It's one of several steps being taken to accommodate the record crowds of hikers and visitors streaming into the Adirondacks in numbers that have doubled, even tripled over the past couple of decades. And as our producer Michael Hansen shows us in this week's cover story, it also highlights the importance of the work being done by crews that build and maintain those trails hikers are coming to enjoy.
The first day you get out on the trail and start doing actual trail work, you're like, oh wow, this is legit, this is hard. I gotta learn what I can fast. So that includes relying on the people around you and asking them for help and suggestions. We are professional trail workers for the Adirondack Mountain Club.
So this is called setting rocks. And the goal is to get them in a position where they're relatively sturdy and won't really move too much when you kick them from any direction. And that's to make sure that over time, as the ground heaves and people walk on it and it gets wear and tear, that they won't pop out of place. We're getting people up out of the mud, so when they step down, it's not displacing material and sediment, causing it to erode off. It's also going to keep people on one concentrated section of trail instead of coming to a muddy section and then wanting to walk around it and making it even wider and wider.
So what we're doing is helping to create these trails so that people can be using them and they're not going to completely erode away on us. So they'll be there for everyone to use and everyone to use for a while. So we're creating sustainable trails that will last. A lot of the trails are really old here versus out west they're very new, and they're built to be sustainable because they were built very recently versus our trails were built a long time ago, so they were just kind of cut to be the quickest way to a point. So they were not built sustainably, so what we're doing is going back to make them last for everyone.
You kind of have to think about your average everyday person who maybe is on their first or second hike. What are they going to want to do? Where are they going to want to walk? And how can we make it easy for them to get from point A to point B while staying on the trail and staying out of the vegetation? A lot of time goes into it to make it look natural and make it be very clearly the way that people are going to want to walk.
So the point of breaking the rocks down is we want to fill up as much space as possible. So on the bottom layer, we're gonna have these larger rocks, kind of like this size. And when I'm breaking them down, we're getting closer and closer to the top of this. So we don't want it overflowing because then crush just runs off the trail and causes more erosion. So the point of crushing it down is to just make a nice even walking surface. People would much rather walk on smaller sized rocks than trying to rock hop.
Especially around here in the High Peaks, there's a lot of use, and seeing the wear and tear that they go through, it gets you thinking when you're hiking, I wish could help somehow. And it's important because I really care about more than having good hiking opportunity for everybody, which is extremely important. I want to protect the ecosystem because this place is beautiful and is being greatly impacted.
One thing I've learned is that the best way to get people involved and caring about the environment is to get them out in it and experiencing it. So being able to give them a way to do that and have it not be totally daunting or have them not just be tearing up the trails while they're doing it is super important.
Just seeing like parts of the trails that we work on that are like the worst of the worst. Like people won't go over like a mud puddle, instead they'll walk around through the brush and just trample a whole bunch of vegetation, and it's hard to see that. So when we're doing this stuff, we're trying to make it as manageable as possible for every type of person, so the trails can be maintained and everything around it can stay natural.
Absolutely not.
You definitely have to enjoy what you're doing. So you have to care a little bit about the environment and understand that, like, okay, yeah, I'm building this trail for a reason, so it's got to look a certain way.
These rucks aren't just placed there all like willy-nilly from a storm or something. They're very purposely placed and they take hours.
You have to kind of take pride in things that you do as well. Like, if you're a kind of person who just throws something together and is like, yeah, that looks fine, you're not really going to do great things on trail work, because if you do that, it might just fall apart in 5-10 years after use.
It's a really important job, I think, and I'm really grateful to be part of it and to create something that's gonna hopefully outlast me and allow for people to really enjoy this beautiful area and hopefully want to conserve it as well.